Episode 55B. RAWSEP analysis of the EPA Watchdog report #23E0012 February 28, 2023. RAWSEP Presidents is working to end residential wood stove use to protect the health of near neighbors of residential wood burners. Inspector General is the watchdog of the EPA. Inspector General is the watchdog of residential wood stove certification. The Office of the Inspector General, OIG, of the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, is known as the watchdog of the EPA. This OIG watchdog has issued a 2023 criticizing the current method of certification of wood stoves for safety. The OIG watchdog recommends an overhaul of the agency's wood heat program, including the creation of a new cord wood testing method. Hyperlocalized PM2.5 around residents of wood burner, affecting near neighbors. Particulates from wood burning, even when they don't accumulate across wide areas, they can still pose risks in individual households, also called hyperlocalized risks. Wood smoke is 90% PM2.5 size. Particulate matter of 2.5 micrometer size, PM2.5, can be monitored by Purple Air PM2.5 monitors in yards of near neighbors of residential wood burners. Purple Air PM2.5 monitor data on U.S. airno maps of smoke and fire. Purple Air PM2.5 level data showing exceedances of EPA set safe limits of PM2.5 can be downloaded 24 hours a day and 7 days a week from online Purple Air maps, as well as on U.S. airno maps of smoke and fire, available to the general public and government officials. In that way, governmental officials can view weekend and overnight hyperlocalized PM2.5 data. Ordinances or laws against PM2.5 above safe limits should shut down wood stove use, rather than relying on certification of wood stoves. If there were ordinances or laws violated concerning PM2.5 limits set for health reasons, governmental authorities could shut down residential wood-burning stoves without having to enter the residence of the wood burner. Residents against wood smoke particulates, RAWSEP presidents, believe it would be cost-effective to deal with air pollution at the stack and in hyperlocalized areas near the stack, rather than rely on certification of wood stoves for controlling hyperlocalized air pollution, eliminating air pollution from one wood stove's PM2.5 emissions. If there is no safe limit of PM2.5, wood stoves for heat should not be allowed, or wood stoves should not be allowed for other prolonged use causing violation of safe limits of PM2.5. The American Lung Association believes that any amount of PM2.5 is hazardous to health. The World Health Organization sets the annual limit for PM2.5 at 5 micrograms per meter cubed. The current EPA limits of PM2.5 are set at 12 micrograms per meter cubed annually and 35 micrograms of PM2.5 daily, but are being reviewed after public hearing were held February 21, 22, and 23, 2023. The new limits requested overwhelmingly at the hearings were 8 micrograms per meter cubed annually and 25 micrograms per meter cubed daily. In summary, the report says, a new report from the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency's Independent Office of the Inspector General says federal regulators aren't doing enough to ensure that household wood heaters comply with limits on these particulates. Certification tests may not be accurate, do not reflect real-world conditions, and may result in some wood heaters being certified for sale that emit too much particulate matter pollution. EPA watchdog slams ineffective wood heater plan in new report, 1. Bloomberg Law News. An EPA residential wood heater program leaves homes vulnerable to dangerous particulate matter pollution, according to an independent agency. Watchdog says EPA falls short on wood heater oversight, the main monitor. The main monitor. Inconsistent testing allows sale of wood heaters with unhealthy particulate. Reducing particle pollution from wood-burning devices is key to. Watchdog says inconsistent U.S. Environmental Protection Agency testing allows sale of wood heaters with unhealthy particulate emissions. U.S. home heating is fractured in surprising ways. Look up your neighborhood. Washington Post, March 6, 2023. The split shows that much of the South and rural America could ditch fossil fuels easier than big cities and the coasts. UTM_source equals Twitter and UTM_campaign equals WP_main and UTM_medium equals social and FLID equals IWER3J_SBF_WF_WC2SBF_GS2SBF_ZPZ47HY6_0G0JO6SU. RAWSEP view. The goal should not be to ditch fossil fuel burning for home heating and replace it with residential wood burning. The goal should be to stop polluting in order to heat homes. Excerpt. There are 4 main ways that Americans heat their homes: electricity, natural gas, propane, or fuel oil. In the South, electricity to stay warm. In the Midwest, natural gas and, in rural areas, propane. In the Northeast, fuel oil still heats many homes. In 1960, only 2% of homes in the United States were heated by electricity. By 2000, around 29% were, and most of them were in the South. Starting in the 1960s, when developers were building new homes across the South, electricity prices started to fall significantly, due in part to the Tennessee Valley Authority's generous power supply. Today, electricity in the South still tends to be cheaper than in many other areas of the country. Mild winters also made electricity and heat might only be required for a month or 2. In colder regions of the country, however, the calculus was different. First-generation heat pumps didn't work when temperatures dipped below freezing. Modern air source heat pumps now function well below freezing temperatures. That left a few viable options: natural gas in pipelines or truck-delivered liquid fuels such as propane or fuel oil. In more urban areas, natural gas made financial sense. The question becomes, is the population dense enough for us to build the gas infrastructure? And not just population density, but how connected the homes are in a region. Homes using fuel oil or propane, on the other hand, often sat in rural areas without an easy connection to a natural gas network. And in the Northeast, many homes were also built before 1920 of fuel oil furnaces. RAWSEP interjection here: nothing wrong with natural gas as a bridge. Residential wood burning produces 450 times the PM 2.5 as a natural gas furnace. End of RAWSEP interjection. Excerpt continues. Areas that now depend on natural gas, urban, heavily populated areas in states such as New York, California, Illinois, also tend to have the most Democratic voters. Climate-focused Democrats are trying to ban gas hookups in new buildings, even with a switch from natural gas to a heat pump. In bitterly cold areas, homeowners may also require a backup source of heat that costs more. Republican strongholds, the South and rural areas around the country, stand to gain the most from switching to electricity in general, and heat pumps in particular. In rural areas, moving away from fuel oil and propane will also save cash. According to the nonprofit Rewiring America, homes currently heated by fuel oil will save, on average, $949 per year by transitioning to an electric heat pump. Those heated by propane will save around $680 a year. In many cold areas of the country, people have been told for years that heat pumps or electric heating won't keep them fully warm. More incentives might be needed at the local or state level. The federal government has provided one. The Inflation Reduction Act has offered $2,000 tax credits for heat pumps and will soon add upfront rebates for low-income households. To zero out carbon pollution, every home currently heated by natural gas, propane, or fuel oil needs to be moved over to electricity. And the electricity grid also needs to be shifted to cleaner sources such as wind, solar, and geothermal energy.